quotes from the Talmud. Before it was in the Quran, it was in the Talmud. So the Talmud is a recording of various things, but basically, in its essence, it contains the oral law, it contains all the laws, the great courts of the Jewish Supreme Courts that used to sit in every generation. It includes all the laws that they set. It includes everything to do with the Jewish tradition that wasn't contained in the Torah. And we're bound by the laws of the Talmud, just as we're bound by the laws of the Torah. And the Babylonian.
The Torah is the Old Testament, right? Not the Torah. It's the Old Testament.
The Torah is the Old Testament, yeah.
There is some.
Please.
Did you say that anybody could be Jewish?
Yeah, 100%.
But I thought you had to
Have a Jewish mom.
Yes.
It's one. So, for instance, Ruth in the Bible, in the Old Testament, she was a convert. Some of our greatest rabbis, so Rabbi Akiva was either a convert or the child of converts. So there were just dozens and dozens of converts. So people who don't know about Judaism say that you can't convert. If anyone thinks you can't convert to Judaism,
I have a lot of Jewish friends, and they say you have to have a Jewish mother.
No, what they're saying is if you've got a Jewish mother, you're Jewish even if you don't keep the religion. But if you want to take on the religion, you can convert. But what we're saying in Judaism, you don't have to convert. It's not like Christianity or Islam, where to get to Jannah, you need to accept a certain message. Judaism says if you do righteous deeds in this world, if you're a kind person, if you're, so for instance, if you're an Indian, a Hindu, and you open up orphanages and you feed the poor, it would be a pretty callous God.
I haven't seen any rabbis who say that. Jonathan Sachs would never say that.
Jonathan Sachs would absolutely say what I'm saying. If you actually read his books, he says that.
But I've spoken with him.
You've spoken with Jonathan Sachs, and Jonathan Sachs says that the only people that go to Jannah is Jews?
No, he doesn't say that. But
what does he say?
So I've heard him say that you've got to have a Jewish mother in order to...
Okay, so you're missing what I'm saying. I'm saying in Judaism, you don't have to convert to go to Jannah. However, if you want to convert, you can go through a process called Geirut.
Can you show us from the Torah that the statement is true?
No. But
okay, so
from the Torah,
I'm going to give you. Ruth was born not in the Jewish people. Yeah, she was born in another people. She joined the Jewish people. There's an entire book in the Torah dedicated to her conversion story and how she joined the Jewish people.
Converted. I'm talking about people who did not convert.
So we only have that from the Talmud.
No, but can you show me that the statement you have made?
It's not in the Torah. The Torah doesn't talk about Jannah. The Torah doesn't talk about Jannah anywhere.
Or the Talmud.
Talmud, sorry, I missed that. Where does the Talmud come from?
It's okay. So in Judaism you have the Torah, which is the written law of Moses. You also have something called the Talmud. So in the Torah, it commands us to set up courts. And these courts are to define laws and how the Jewish community operates. Because we have the same concept as an ummah. Slightly different. We have one concept, it's similar but different. We have a concept of ummah in Judaism. And what we don't want is divisions. And so there was one central court. You used to have little Sharia courts in every city, but then there was the Great Court, which was in Jerusalem. And any law that the Great Court set, all the Jewish people had to follow, unless a Greater Court set another law. And what that did, it eradicated the divisions. So instead of having Shia and Sunni, instead of having Nafis, Salafi,
so like when we had our Sultanate.
Kind of similar, but
one question. Really different.
Okay, so listen. If you listen, I can tell you why. So what happened was the court, all of their rulings were captured in something called the Talmud. But eventually the Jewish people were scattered so far apart, and we didn't have telecommunications, that you couldn't have one court, which the last court sat in Babylon, which is why it was the Babylonian Talmud. The Kalot were in Babylon. The last courts were in Babylon, but by that time, if you had Jews living in the furthest isles of, so for instance, we had Jews living in England at that time, they couldn't set a law in Babylon that would arrive in England. So what then happened was they sealed the Talmud in case anything was forgotten, and all those rulings that the Great Court made were preserved, and then every locality had its Sharia court then. So anything that's in the Talmud, all of the Jews follow, but for instance, if I'm living in Gateshead, where there's only one, it's not a Sharia court, but it's called the Bed Din, where there's only one Bed Din.
There is Orushalim
Yeah, I know, but I can explain the differences between them in a
they
minute.
all authentically follow the Talmud?
So all Orthodox Jews follow the Babylonian Talmud.
Not the liberals.
So liberals,
It's override the Torah. Override the Torah.
So the liberals and the progressives, they basically believe that the Talmud, there's no reason to follow it, and they don't believe that in many cases you even have to follow the written law because they believe it's divinely inspired. So you'll find many progressive Jews who will eat bacon, won't keep Shabbat. So I'm going to just speak about the Jews of the tradition. Today they're called Orthodox Jews. I don't like that word. It's a Greek word. I prefer to say I'm an observant Jew.
So like Ashkenazi.
Yeah, you know, but even Orthodox comes with connotations. It came out of Europe. The Jews of the Arab world, for instance, the Muslim world, they never called themselves Orthodox. They were just Shoma Mitzvah.
Orthodox.
The question actually, when you said actually the Talmud, the Torah is a revelation of Moses.
Yeah.
What the Talmud, when the Talmud came out again?
So the Talmud contains revelation from Moses, but most of the Talmud isn't revelation from Moses. Most of the Talmud is following the commandment because it was the Torah says that you have to institute courts.
So don't you
Who
think?
revealed that?
Who revealed
Those laws.
No. So for instance, we have something called a gezerah. A gezerah is a decree to protect the original Torah law.
It's not from God. It's not from God.
No, it's not from God. No. So minhagim, gezerot, takanot. But
Ten Commandments, is it from God?
yeah.
I mean, the question is the Talmud.
Just to qualify, some Jews will say that those laws, although they were set by men, were divinely inspired. Some Jews won't.
So don't you see there are additives in the Talmud which not to do with the Torah?
So say that again.
Don't you find out there are additives which are not having nothing to do with the Torah?
No. So again, in Judaism, the whole function of the Talmud, or the laws contained within it, are to protect the Torah. So I'll give you an example. The Torah says that you shouldn't cook a kid in its mother's milk. The Talmud comes to give that definition and says that you shouldn't cook milk and meat, and you shouldn't eat milk and meat. But then the rabbis set a law on top of that, which was that you shouldn't cook a chicken in milk. Now, if you look at the original verse, it says cook a kid in its mother's milk. Now that's talking about a goat, a baby goat in milk. We then learn out from that you shouldn't have any milk and meat. However, the rabbis, to make sure no one broke that prohibition, enacted a law that says you shouldn't cook a chicken in milk, even though a chicken can't produce milk. It produces
What
an egg.
do you say about actually that the Protocol of Zion is a derivative of the Talmud?
It's nonsense. The Protocols of Zion is a Russian forgery which was used to attack Jews and create anti-Semitism. It's got nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with the Talmud.
Because that's what you hear. Now again, and when you go back to the Talmud, the Gentiles, for example, that they are actually a slave of the Jews.
Again. So if you speak to the EDL, the English Defence League, or Islamophobes in the UK, you might hear verses from the Quran which are twisted out, or from the Hadith that are twisted.
Yeah.
And they use these to attack Judaism. People either misquote or make.
But is there a sect that believe in that?
No Jew believes that non-Jews are slaves.
So what is the difference between a Zionist and a Jew?
So I'm a Zionist.
Okay, so what is a Zionism?
Zionism is somebody that supports the rights for Jews to have a home in their ancestral land. That's all.
We look in America, we look at a website, Judaism against.
Okay, so this is coming from a small sect called the Turei Carter and a slightly larger sect called Satmar. They represent Eastern European Jews. They represent less than 5% of all Orthodox Jews in the world. I'll just answer this and I'll come to your question, so it's really important for me. The overwhelming majority of Jews from the Muslim lands, for instance, they're aren't what you would call a Zionist. One of the biggest political parties in Israel is called Shas. That's the party of the Sephardi Jews, the Jews from the Muslim lands. Whereas the Turei Carter, a Lithuanian and Hungarian Jews, they represent maybe a few hundred families, and they make these websites, and all the Muslims come up to me and ask me this question. But it's I actually came to make a video about this very thing. Would you mind telling me on camera over what you've heard. Just what you've heard. It's not to make you look bad, I'm actually making a video on this.
No.
Because this man's filming you here.
That's okay, no. No, I mean, I would, I'm just information that, I mean, what happened?
All I need, you just said then that the Jews are against having, do you think that it's against the Torah to have a Jewish state? Have you heard that?
No, I mean, what we know from the people is that the Zionist movement is dangerous for us simply because they are actually, we believe that we are a world that is written that we are scattered. So I mean, I'm telling you what I'm saying.
So what I would say to any Muslim who Nuturi Carter have said this to,
any
they largely speak, unfortunately they largely speak to Muslims, so that's all.
It's not to destroy this war.
So what I would ask anyone who's heard this to actually open up the Torah and read the verses that they say prevent a Jewish state, and you'll find it's talking about gazelles. It's not talking about, there's nowhere in the Torah does it say that Jews can't have a state. What it says is that we're in Galut, that we're in exile, and it says that God will gather the rest of the Jews that aren't in Israel and bring them back.
If there's a misunderstanding, why, for example, you don't organize sessions, you bring people from different parts and
so we do.
We destroy these walls. I mean,
the wall's different. The wall. So I'm like most Israelis. I wake up every morning.
No, I'm saying the walls are different.
Oh, the walls are different. So
for example, I see you a human, I see me human.
Please don't.
I see you as my Aki, but you're my brother and you're a sister. And so what I would say is I actually do. I run a website which promotes commonalities. We were just talking about that between Jews and Muslims. Not for that one because I just pay for it now. I don't update it, but it's called Judaism-Islam.com, and that promotes the similarities between our two faiths. What I'll do, I'll give you my Zionist card, and you can message me there, and we can talk about the other one. There's my Zionist card. Almost. I can give you one. I can give you one.
Because we are going to have dinner, and we will talk.
Please.
We'll organize it.
And I can even get. No, I'm in London.
I'm actually, one of the biggest Jewish communities was in Morocco. I'm from Morocco.
So it's just mine. Morocco. A lot of my Moroccan Jewish friends, they still have pictures of the King of Morocco on the wall in London.
No. I mean, the problem I'm telling you is for us actually, sometimes you hardly have a chance to have an open discussion about the difference.
The biggest
difference and all what you hear in the media, what you hear from there.
If you go on that, if you look at the Facebook page, which I just gave you, you'll see so many of my Jewish followers have anti-Muslim views, and so many Muslims have anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish views. And the only way we can beat it is by promoting these types of dialogues and showing that actually what you've been told isn't true, and what I've been told isn't true. I know, so we should. June Jacobs, no, not personally. Is she in the Reform movement? That's why I wouldn't know her. I'm like hardcore Orthodox.
Are you hardcore?
Yeah,
But you two should talk, right?
To be honest, I find I have more in common with my Muslim friends than I do with my Jewish sisters and brothers who are Reform.
So we run programs to bring people together.
Yeah.
Look at what are the differences.
So do you want to know what the real problem is? And it's sort of what you were touching on before. Jews and Muslims have got along in most centuries. There have been differences, but there have been odd times when we've been massacred. But most of the time we've got on really well. The problem is, and it's not a problem for me, the problem is Zionism. The idea that the Jews having a state... No, exactly. The fact that I'm a Zionist, because I've been attacked here so many times because I'm a Zionist. And that's the problem. It's Muslims hear the word Zionist and they think devil, they think Dajjal. I've literally got videos of people calling me the Dajjal, or I'm waiting for the Dajjal, I'm the Antichrist. Just because I'm a Zionist. And all Zionists, and they actually spoke to me. They actually, before they called me the Dajjal, they know that I actually support a two-state solution. I'm all for a Palestinian state that means I can live in peace with my neighbours. But it's just Zionist. It's like in Islam, you have Muslims, you have non-Muslims, you have Dajjal, you have Shaitan, and then you have the Jews. Like the most.
So we can have long.
Oh, the Zionists, not the Jews. The Zionists.
The creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Exactly. We say
His creation, and we belong to the real optimal souls. The difference is our ego.
Yeah.
Is our ego that make difference? If you destroy that, then there is no problem.
What was your name?
Thank you, sir. My name is Ramadan.
Yusuf. Ramadan, it was really nice. I assume your wife, it was lovely meeting you.
Thank you, all the best.
The problem with the Zionism is the present Zionism is that certain people are being excluded from the area and other people are being included, right? So, what sort of Zionism are you talking about? Are you talking about Jerusalem being part of Israel, the capital of Israel, or are you talking about the occupied lands being part of Israel? I mean, there's all sorts of Zionism, depending on how reasonable or fair-minded you are.
What do you think Zionism means then?
Well, you tell me what Zionism is for you.
Okay, so Zionism for everybody. The definition of Zionism.
Well, it's not for everybody, it's for the Jews.
No, the definition of
Ah, right,
Zionism.
okay, yeah.
The definition of Zionism is that the Jews have a right to an ancestral land, a home in their ancestral land. That's all it is. So you
And
can
who was that law written by?
It's not a law.
Yeah, oh, well,
Ism. It's an
okay,
ism
so
like you
where
have.
did the ism come from?
The ism is ingrained in the Jewish religion.
Right, but it's not ingrained in anyone else's. So everyone else is being obliged to accept. Well,
Okay, so
well, you know, if they're considered not
with the
reasonable.
greatest respect.
Yeah, but they're considered not
With the
reasonable.
greatest respect, Jews have lived continuously in that region for the last 3,500 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe the right for indigenous people for self-determination, which is why I support many of the states in the Middle East that sprung up in the last 100 years. I don't believe that the Jewish people should be excluded from having a state just because they're Jewish. I believe that Christians should be entitled to a state if they're an indigenous.
Well, there's certainly been no consensus about. I'm sorry, let me speak now. There's been no consensus. It's been a forced program.
Okay,
Right?
how do you think Israel came into existence?
Well, 1948 it was created.
How?
There was Jews there prior to the Second
was it
World War.
created?
A lot of
You're
the
saying it was
Holocaust
forced.
victims.
How was
a
it
lot of the
created?
Holocaust victims were transported by the British over to Israel after the war, for example, right? And then they fought against the British and they won independence effectively off the British. Okay.
Okay, so
that's
now
more or less. That's
not
touching
more or
the
less.
surface.
That's absolutely
Okay,
perfect.
well that's
So what happened was.
well, okay. So it wasn't 1948.
So I'll explain to you.
It wasn't 1948.
I'll explain to you if you listen. I listen to you. So the Ottomans used to control the territory, yeah?
Yes.
They control the vast empire, of which Jews, Christian, Muslims.
Oh, well, you're going back further. I'm
No,
going back.
I'm going to come to 40.
I'm going back to the foundation of the state.
I'm going to the foundation of the state. You have to do
I
it.
want to debate you. I've seen you a few times. Can we have a debate, please? It'd be lovely. It'd be lovely. No, of course you don't want to debate me because you don't want to talk about the Talmud, do you?
No, I don't want to talk
Would you
about
like to talk about the death of Jesus, maybe?
No, I don't want to.
Are you sure record this stuff? Well, you wouldn't? How about the Gentile babies 3 years old? Are they allowed to be fucked in the Talmud? I'm just asking. Are you sure? Can I have your phone? My phone's dying. I'll show you the Talmud.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say to you
Mate,
is
you've been really.
I've never asked for the debate with Jewish man. That's all.
1948 was the foundation of the state. Right. We're not talking about what happened 3,500 years ago, because there was human beings in caves in the south of France 20,000 years ago. So what do we say there? You know, the Neanderthals had a right, okay, but they're not there anymore because they were outbred or they were forced out. So we can
Do you
play
not
games
believe
with this
that
if we
every
want.
Muslim is a terrorist? I've watched your videos. Do you not believe that?
No, if you actually
Alright,
knew
let
the
me
first
quote
thing,
him. I'll show you now.
If you knew the first thing about me, I run a website called Judaism Islam.
Zionist
Listen,
something. I've
listen.
got you on my channel.
I've got
you on my
Israel
channel.
Advocacy speaking on me.
Israel Advocate. That's it.
Yeah, advocacy movement. I also run something called JudaismIslam.com, which builds bridges between brothers
Well,
like
can
you
we
and
have
me.
a debate then?
No, I'm building.
Please, I'm asking, please, can I have a reasoned debate with you, because I have actually been looking to debate with you for a long time, and now you're here. I don't know if I see you
I've
again.
actually
I don't come here all the time.
I've come to shoot my own video.
Yeah, well, you've said stuff that I felt offended
I'll
by,
tell you what,
so I wouldn't talk to you.
I'll give you my call. We'll do this civilized. We're not
It's civilized.
We're not doing it speaker's corner. We'll speak. I'll let you run away.
He's gonna run away. He's gonna run away. Because he knows I've seen his videos. That's why. He says that all Muslims are terrorists, yeah, and that we're a problem for Britain.
No, I
That's what he
don't.
said.
When have I ever said that?
I'll show you now. Might have to watch it about 5 minutes.
Anyway, to come back to what you said. Try not to question.
Go on, Mike.
I'm talking about recent history. I know.
Yeah. So what happened was in World War I, the Ottomans were defeated, and they were defeated by the Allies. I don't
know about anything else.
I love
I
Muslims.
just know that you believe all Muslims are terrorists.
Can you
He said it.
imagine? I
I'm
don't say that
I'm going to
Muslims are
quote him now. I'm going to quote him in his own video right now. One second. Freedom of
Just
speech,
for the
man. We're having a debate, man. What's wrong with that?
Ever said Muslims?
Anyway, that's beside the point. At the moment. That's not what we're talking
You
about.
said all Muslims are terrorists,
Yeah.
and then you told them that you like them, and they're not all terrorists, and you contradicted yourself because I watched your videos, mate. That's what I'm saying.
Then
You contradicted yourself a lot.
I've never ever, show me one video where I said that Muslims are terrorists.
Have a conversation with a three-way conversation.
Sorry, it just came over such a...
And what do you think of Kay Wilson? Do you think that she's inciting terrorism? Do you think she incites terrorism, Kay Wilson?
I think she was the victim of a terror
But
attack.
did she incite it?
Well, who cares about one person anyway? What we're talking about is the bigger picture. You know what I mean? What we're talking about is basically what right have the Zionists got, right? Whether you're a Jewish Zionist or you're a Christian Zionist, what right has a Zionist got to actually take over a piece of land, push the others out?
Not allowed Palestine.
Like
Not allowed it. I'll shout if I fucking like, but I'm a Gentile. Gentile shout. Where are you going now? Where are you going?
You're attacking him, you're not debating.
Anyway, I'm going to go somewhere else now. See what else they do.
The Zionists doesn't want the truth. The Zionists hate the truth, man. They don't like it. Corruption. Stop killing Palestinian children and babies in Israel. Stop doing it. It's not right, mate. It's not right, man. Taking it to. Why is it that we can't criticize Israel, but we can criticize Islam, and we can criticize America, and we can criticize our own country?
You knew the first thing about me instead of coming and trying to pick a fight with me.
I'm not picking a fight. I'm not picking a fight. I'm having a debate.
I don't want a debate. I feel rigid.
So then you have to
I've spent years trying to form relations with
What you've done is spent years trying to demonize Muslims. I've watched your channel, bro. I've watched it. I've got you on my channel.
So show me one thing where I didn't. I said one thing in my entire history of Speaker's Corner which I regretted.
Not in Speaker's Corner. I'm talking about on the Palestine Al-Qad march. Remember what he said there? I know, but do you remember what he said at Al-Qad? Let me have a guess. I'll let you have a guess before I play it.
I'm certain.
What did you say at Al-Qad rally?
I've never said that all Muslims are terrorists.
Okay then.
I don't believe that. It's not something I believe. It's not something I would ever.
Of course, because I've watched you here talk to Muslims and tell them you respect them, but you don't. No.
Okay, so show me this video.
Don't worry, man. You've got that. You've got that. Got that for you ready, man. That medicine. Got that medicine for you, brother. Lucky that the internet's a bit slow right now.
I call Hezbollah terrorists. I'll call the people waving Hezbollah.
The Gentiles also have a voice, you know. I'm the voice of the Gentiles. I am the voice of the Gentiles.
Gentile is not a Jewish word.
Okay, that's why it's in even the Old Testament I believe.
Gentile's an English word. We speak Hebrew.
Yeah, man. So why is it, that in the Talmud it says that Gentiles, yes, we should be slaves to
It doesn't
Jews?
say that.
Why does it say that? I can show you it. My phone's dead.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
There you are. Wait, you're around here. Do you remember going here?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, you remember going here. Of course you do. To the back a little bit. A little bit more. A little bit more, man. Back to this guy you was talking about. Talking to one black guy actually, you was, I think. Rasta man, maybe.
Ready mode.
Oh, that's the speaker. I was wondering what the hell was
Audio input.
It's always good to have debate. If people don't have debate, then things will never be said.
No,
I swear down, brother. I'm not being disrespectful.
You're right.
I watched you a lot and I wanted to talk to you. I really did.
Nothing's wrong with debate. It's just you're coming out really angry and it's like,
Because I am angry at the fact that we are getting looking for idiots.
Anytime a black man
Whenever a black man speaks, I'm angry. I would never hurt this man. I would never ever hurt this man in my life. So how am I being aggressive?
You're saying that.
being passionate and angry.
Yeah, look. Back a bit. I haven't got easy between this one. Okay, Wilson. Telling this guy that all of them are terrorists. I think he's around about
They're pointing with these guys. They're Hezbollah.
He's Hezbollah. He's a white man. How the fuck is he Hezbollah?
He's called Mick Napier.
According to him, we are lesser humans.
He's called Mick Napier.
You want peace and he wants war, you tell me.
This is Hezbollah. Oh my God. I'm calling
Mate.
Hezbollah.
This was London, mate. How's he Hezbollah?
Okay, look at the Hezbollah
He's
flag.
white.
There's a
White.
Hezbollah flag there. You can see it in the video.
What's wrong with Hezbollah?
Hezbollah are a terrorist organisation. Crying out loud. I'm not against Islam. I'm not against Islam. You're perverting my word. I've spent
What is
years.
Israel? What about IDF?
I'm triggered. I'm triggered. I'm triggered.
I've got passion.
Anger.
It's always passion. It's passion. I would never hurt this man.
You're supporting a terrorist group.
I'll shake your hand. I'll never ever fight you, brother. I'm talking this a debate. I really wanted to debate.
Do you know what Hezbollah stands for? Do you know what Hezbollah stands for?
Hezbollah is actually a resistance movement to Israel occupation. That's what it is. ISIS is terrorism. Hezbollah is a resistance fighter group in Israel to stop children getting killed and women getting killed. Right now, 1 million people have been killed in Palestine and we don't hear about it on the news.
Do you know that Hezbollah wants to destroy the state of Israel?
That's the thing. That's not a normal. Then good. Stay of Israel.
As
you would deal with Israel stolen. As you would given by the British. What right can the British have to give Israel to the That's all I want to ask. Because I actually respect what you say. I've seen a few videos. I see that you like to talk to people, and I'd like to talk to you because I'm a proper Gentile. I'd like to talk to
gentlemen, but like
Gentile. That's what you call me.
I call you Aki.
I'm calling myself what you call me.
No, I don't. This is the thing. You're building straw mans. First you say I call Muslim.
Am I a shiksha? Maybe I'm a shiksha or a goyim.
Why don't you listen?
Why are you coming up with all these words?
Because I know them. I've read the Talmud. I've read the English translation of not all of it. No, that's lies because there's 10 books, so it's more than that. But I have read the main parts of the Talmud in English that I need to know.
What section says
Well, that Jesus is sitting in shit, common excrement.
It doesn't say that anywhere.
Semen, it doesn't?
So what,
You're lucky my phone's dead, you know. But all of the stuff on it.
Listen. If you speak to the EDL, yeah, they're going to tell you things about Islam. They're going to take verses either out of context or make them up.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you that Muslims are commanded to go around and convert people by the sword, which isn't true.
But
they're going to listen. I listen
What
to
are you going to do when the state? I didn't get converted by a sword. What are you going to do when
I'm not saying the I'm saying the EDL.
Okay.
The EDL, racist people,
They are racist, I agree.
Islamophobes will read the Quran and they'll read verses either out of context or make them up entirely and say this is what Muslims believe. When if you speak to an educated brother who goes to masjid 5 times a day, he's going to give you the context. He's going to tell you how what you've been told is been misled. They've either taken something out of context or they've made it up entirely. So all I'm saying, to come back to your Gentile comment, Jews believe what Jews actually believe rather than what you've read on a racist website. Jews believe that all people...
Why must it be a racist
Because if it's making up, just like if the EDL say things like Muslims go around and they convert people by the sword and they're commanded to kill the infidel or the kuffar, that's a lie. And it's coming from a racist place usually.
Okay.
So I'm saying the same thing. In my religion it says that you, a Muslim, a human, are my brother. It says Betzelem Elohim. We're all created in the image of God. That means we all have free will and we're all brothers. It says that I'm commanded to love you. I can't discriminate you. I can't oppress you.
Same
It's same as Islam. No, it's same as Islam. If you compare the Quran to the Torah, there's so much commonality. I'll give you want to know the Talmud. You came to me and you started talking about the Talmud. I'll tell you my favorite verse in the Quran, My favorite verse in the Quran, I said this 2 seconds ago, is someone who saves a life, it's like he saved all of humanity. Someone who takes a life, it's like he's destroyed all of humanity. You know where that was first said? The Talmud. It's not in the Torah, because the Quran says he told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Jewish people that if you take a life, it's like you've taken all of them. And where is that found? It's not found in the Torah.